In this video, we are going to cover the basics of Disney Lorcana, from things like what do all the symbols on the cards mean, what to do during your turns, and of course, how to win the game. A deck in Disney Lorcana consists of at least 60 cards. That means you can go above 60, but of course, the more you go above 60, the less consistent your deck will be. There are 6 ink types: Amber, Amethyst, Emerald, Ruby, Sapphire, and Steel, each representing a different playstyle. You can include up to 2 ink types per deck. There are 5 main types of cards you'll see. First up is characters, which can quest for lore and challenge opponents' characters. Second up, actions. These are one-time effects like spells, and you discard them after you use them. Songs are special action cards that some characters can sing for free. So for example, if you have a 3-cost character in play, you can tap it to sing Friends on the Other Side without using any ink. But more on that later. You also have items that stay on the board after you play it and offer ongoing effects whenever you use it. For example, if you have Amethyst Koi in play, you can use its effect whenever a card is put into your inkwell. And for Popsicle, you can leave it in play until you need to heal 2 damage from one of your characters, then you can discard it. I know it's a bit confusing now, but when we get to the gameplay part, it will be a lot clearer. Next up, we have locations, cards that characters can move to, and different locations will have different effects. Next up, let's go to what's on a character card, because those will be the ones that you will be using the most. On the top left hand corner, you have the ink cost, which is how much ink you will need to play this card. Lorcana cards are further categorized into 2 different types: inkable and non-inkable. If the card is just in a hexagon, then it is non-inkable, but if it has the flowery border around it, it can be inked. We now go on to the strength and willpower of the character. The strength or attack is how much the character deals, and their willpower or health is how much damage they can take. So when your character challenges another character, you deal damage based on your strength, and after you take damage from their character, your willpower will decide whether your character stays on the board. At the bottom right hand corner, you also see the lore value, which is how much lore you gain when this character quests. So during your turn, your character can either challenge another character, or you can tap them to gain the lore according to their lore count. Some characters also have abilities like Rush, Evasive, Ward, which will be a lot more self-explanatory after you learn how to play the game, so let's head to that. At the start of the game, you decide who to start by rolling a die. After that, the player that goes first is also known as the player on the play, and the player that goes second is also known as the player on the draw. After shuffling your decks, both players draw 7 cards, and then we go to the mulligan phase. Both players can take any number of cards from their hand, put them in the bottom of the deck, and draw back the same amount of cards that they put at the bottom. After the mulligan, both players shuffle the decks again, and you are ready to play. And because the person who goes first usually has an advantage, so he doesn't draw a card at the beginning of his first turn. Now let's talk about what you do during your turn. The first phase is the ready phase, where you turn your exerted cards upright unless they are locked by cards like Elsa. Next up is the set phase, where you do any start of turn effects like Lilo. The third phase is the draw, which is self-explanatory. Phase number 4 is the main phase, where most of the action happens, and then the end phase, where you wrap up and pass the turn. During the main phase, there are many actions that you can do. One of the most crucial parts of the game is inking, so deciding what cards you should ink is very crucial. You can only ink once per game unless you have cards like Tipo or Sail the Azerite Sea that allows you to ink more cards during your turn. You can also play characters from your hand. Do take note that characters and actions need ink to be played, so if you only have 1 ink on play, you can only summon 1 cost characters. When you first play a character from your hand, do take note that the ink is still wet, so you won't be able to quest with them or challenge other characters with them unless otherwise stated. This is also known as summoning sickness from other games, so the turn that the character first comes into play, you cannot do anything with it. Most characters come down in ready position unless it has a bodyguard ability, in which case you can choose to play the character exerted. During your turn, you can also use your characters whose ink have dried to challenge other characters. Do take note that you can only challenge characters that are exerted, which is tapped, unless there is an ability or effect that allows you to challenge ready characters. You can also use actions or sing songs. So for example, the card Brawl is an action, so I have to use ink to play it. Whereas a Whole New World is an action or a song, so I can either pay the ink to play it, or I can use a character to sing it. Speaking of songs, let's sidetrack to this ability called Singer. Characters with the Singer ability can sing songs that have higher ink value than their cost. For example, Cinderella Ballroom Sensation is a 1 cost character, but she can sing songs that have 3 costs. Of course, all these actions can be done in any order, so how you sequence it is a measure of how good a player you are. So for example, instead of inking first, I can use a character to sing Friends on the Other Side to draw 2 cards, and then I have more options to decide what cards to ink. Next up, questing and challenging. Characters have 2 main jobs. One is to gain lore according to their lore value, and the other is to challenge your opponent's characters so that they don't gain lore. It takes 20 lore for you to win the game, so you have to balance gaining lore on your own and preventing your opponents from gaining lore faster than you. When you challenge another character, you do damage according to your strength, which is the number on the left. If the opponent's character's willpower, which is the number on the right, is less than your strength, it gets banished. You can use multiple characters to challenge one character, and there are also actions and songs that you can play to banish your opponent's characters. Do take note that you take damage as well when you challenge other characters, and the damage you take is based on your opponent's character's strength. So for example, if I use my Panic High Strung Imp to challenge my opponent's Duchess, my 2 strength does banish the Duchess because the Duchess has 2 willpower and I have 2 strength. But my Panic does get banished as well because the Duchess deal 3 damage. So that is something you have to take into account when you challenge other characters. And that's it, right? The objective of the game is to get to 20 lore before your opponent does. Of course, there are a lot of layers in between, how you gain lore, how you control your opponent so that they don't gain lore faster than you, and that is what makes Lorcana so fun. If you found this video useful, remember to drop a like, subscribe, and let me know in the comments what kind of information you want for further videos. With that, thank you for coming to the end of this video. Sending you lots of love. See you in the next one.